Hello, it's Phil Thatch, and this is a continuation of our Gatorland video. Heather and I made lots and lots of photographs at Gatorland, and it was too long for one video, so we are now starting part 2. So let's get back to Gatorland. We left the rookery and we found more parrots to photograph. And I made a quick photograph of Heather as she was happily holding her Canon R7 with the RF 100-500 lens on it. And then we got to work on the parrots. This is a blue and yellow macaw, we believe is what it's called. And there was a pair of them near a refreshment area. And we both made lots and lots of photographs of them. We thought they were just really, really beautiful. And those feathers, the black feathers on the featherless part of its face, I always thought it was just lines on the bird's face, but it's actually little tiny feathers. Here's some of Heather's photographs of the blue and yellow macaws there in that same area. And this next photo she got, it was kind of doing a wing stretch and showing all of the yellow on that beautiful bird. This next parrot, Heather was having a conversation with. It kept saying hello and she kept saying hello. They didn't ever talk much further than that, but they said hello a lot. Beautiful red and green macaw. We believe this is a military macaw, really beautiful, kind of has some puffy red feathers on its face. And here is one last photograph of the beautiful blue and yellow macaw there at Gatorland. What a beautiful bird. And now this area near the front has a lot of shorebirds around here. I don't think these are nesting, although there are up in the tree. There's a bunch of cormorant and hinga nesting. You can't get a shot, but anyway, we're going to try to get some more bird shots here away from the rookery. Here are a few of my photographs from that area. This is an extra up-close photograph of a wood stork that I thought was kind of prehistoric looking. And here is a beautiful, beautiful snowy egret. Maybe it's my favorite egret or heron right now. Beautiful snowy egret there on the railing. And here is a snowy egret flying, and they were draping their feet across the water and then occasionally dipping their head in to catch minnows. Here's a great egret, much larger than a snowy egret, flying in kind of that same area. And here is another great egret. There was some nice, beautiful pine type trees near that area, and we got some photographs of the birds flying with that in the background. Here's a snowy dragging its feet to catch fish, a little bit too close for my comfort to that alligator. And here is a beautiful snowy egret there in those pine trees that I mentioned earlier. Just such a beautiful bird with a nice background in this shot. And here is the great egret, much larger, in kind of that same area. It was fun to photograph these white wading birds. Look at this. This snowy egret has some sort of insect that was on its neck for quite some time, and both Heather and I got a photograph of it. And we believe this is another snowy egret, maybe slightly subadult in flight in that same area there. Here are some of Heather's photographs from that area. We'll start off with this prehistoric looking wood stork that was walking around there on the boardwalk, and then we'll go on to this beautiful snowy egret. You know, they're my favorite right now. Beautiful snowy egret, and it was kind of in an area just kind of on a handrail, and in this area of the handrail you can actually walk right behind where this bird was. So I did that and waved at Heather while she was photographing this snowy egret. So she's got me bokeh-fied there in the background. Here's another prehistoric looking wood stork photograph there in the same area near the front of Gatorland. And Heather once again made great pictures of some very young common gallinule. These were a little bit further along in their growth than the ones near the rookery, but they were still pretty derpy and very cute. And Heather got a couple of nice photographs of them. Here's Heather's photographs of the snowy egret with the bug kind of implanted in its feathers on its neck. And now Heather got some photographs of the snowy egret in the beautiful pine trees there. Probably my favorite backdrop of the whole day were these pine trees near the front of Gatorland. And Heather got kind of a really up close shot of a snowy egret. It's their kind of really thin frilly feathers that you can see in these shots that I like so much about the snowy egret, as well as its white eye and its golden slippers. So there it is, the beautiful snowy egret photographed in a pine tree there by Heather at Gatorland. We came over here to this pier that is kind of near the front, and there's lots of gators out here, and there's vending machines where you can buy stuff to feed them, which of course we're not interested in all. But when the people are feeding the gators, there's birds flying around, And all around the gators there are minnows swimming around the alligators, and the snowy egrets and others are flying around and capturing the minnows and some of the food. And I was really struggling to get these birds in flight photos, and I switched my autofocus case to 4 and put both of the sliders all the way to the right, and that seemed to help. Most of the tricolored herons stayed back in the back of the park near the rookery, but this one came up front and hung around with the snowy egrets for a little while. Now here is a snowy egret doing that fishing technique I talked about. It drags its feet across the water as it's flying across the water, and then it dips its head into the water, completely into the water while it's flying, and then it pulls its head back out of the water, as you can see here with a splash, and hopefully it has caught a minnow. And here is one that has caught 2 minnows. Here is a beautiful snowy egret with 2 minnows still dragging its feet as it flies across the water. And here is another beautiful snowy egret in those beautiful pine trees. Just love these birds. And here is a black vulture, really up close shot. They have beautiful eyes to be such a somewhat unattractive bird. I learned that the camera seems to track birds in flight better on a fresh battery than a nearly depleted one. So if your battery's down on 1 bar and you're struggling with bird in flight autofocus, switch to a new battery. Here is a beautiful white ibis that was hanging around there on the handrail near the front of the Gatorland Park. Next up we have a snowy egret that was coming in for a landing. Just a beautiful bird with its yellow eyes and its bright white, highly contrasted against a dark background. This is a little blue heron that was flying around that same area there, and they were selling these dog poop looking pellets that you could feed the alligators, and the great egret would fly down and capture them, and I think you can see a bulge in this egret's neck where it's just gotten one. Next up is my favorite shot of the whole day. This is a snowy egret that was coming in for a landing. It was about to land on a handrail, and I caught it just before the handrail was in the shot. Now this photograph was made 5 shots later at 15 frames per second, but it was during the same second. It's that same snowy egret on the handrail. Here's Heather's photographs, a beautiful snowy egret, brightly colored as it was flying over the water in that area. And here is another one. Their feathers go in all sorts of directions when they're slowing down, which I thought was really beautiful. And here is a great egret, and there it is with some of that gator food that they were selling, which we thought looked like dog poop. And here is another one that has captured some of the gator food before the gators had a chance to get to it. Looked like they were a little bit more aggressive. Here is another one. And you know, it was interesting. The great egret were eating the alligator food, and the snowy egret were eating minnows. And if you look down at the alligators, they had minnows swimming all around them. And here is a photograph that Heather made of the snowy egret, and it has captured a couple of minnows. And this is a separate one than the one that I photographed that caught a couple of minnows. Here's a beautiful up close shot that Heather made of the black vulture that was hanging around in that area. And she made a couple of more shots of the beautiful bird. You know, I kidded earlier and said that they were ugly, but I actually do think that they are beautiful birds. And it's rare to see them this close and see their beautiful eyes. Now, just on the other side of the area where people were feeding the alligators, they had some flamingos. Now, there was a way that the alligators could not get over into the pool with the flamingos. I didn't get any photographs of the flamingos, but Heather made a couple of nice photographs of these captive flamingos there at Gatorland. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Did I wear you out?
Yes.
Did I keep you out here shooting too long?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We had a great time here at Gatorland, so I guess now it's time to say see you later, alligator, from Gatorland near Orlando, Florida, where we got to test out the Canon R7, and we both used the 100 to 500, no other lenses, although I did have the 800 with me and a teleconverter. We only used the 100 to 500. So thanks for watching. If you like the content, thumbs up is always appreciated, and as always, we hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.